scrappy friends, how are you today? I hope you are enjoying Stamp-tember or National Stamping Month and enjoying this series. My name is Natalie Peconic and I am a close to my heart maker, and this is my YouTube channel, Nat Scraps. Today we are creating another 2 cards using one of the bundles from the Stamp-tember. I've called it Stamp-tember, the National Scrapbooking Month special. So all the details of those bundles and what is often on offer is in the description below and on the website links that are there. There is also a playlist below with the first video that has where I show all of the stamp sets and everything that is available. So you can check out those or just enjoy watching. What I showed you just moments ago was the 2 die cuts that I've cut with that circular card front die, and the name exactly of it is, I've forgotten, so I'm scurrying around my workshop. Circle lattice background. And I've die cut 2 of those previously because my die cutting machine's sort of not on camera and I don't have a place to put it on my recording area, so I have cut them before we started. I've also stamped that little birdie and a balloon. I've stamped the sentiment that is there. You were on my mind today, so I thought I would send a hug your way. I stamped that, and because I stamped it and then when die cut straight away, I smudged it. So we're going to give that one another stamp and put it aside to dry this time so we don't smudge it again. So next I'm going to do some colouring in. I have made a little, the word is just not coming to my mind at the moment, a little mask for this balloon so that my outside edge stays nice and white. And we used this in video 1 and 2. We did make it in card 1. So if you want to know how I made this with the masking tape, pop back to video 1 and you'll be able to see it there. There is a list of the videos in the description down below, and it's card 1. So I'm just going to use a water brush, and I have placed a little bit of the candied apple ink onto my work surface there, and I'm just picking them up with a water brush. I do go a little bit hard here, so I come in and I try to take a little bit of that colour away with a bit of tissue and then add a little bit more around that area I want the highlight on in the centre. With the little Tweety bird, I start colouring that in, and the ink I used is reacting with the water. So you'll see me do this really quick colouring, and then I kind of like go, I'm really not happy with that. And so I come back in and I actually stamp that one again, and I do recolor that. So I think I've cut a majority of that out, and you'll just see in the end I have that little Tweety bird, and it is much better because it's the ink is not running. So I've just got that little bit of colour in there, and I do a much better job that second time. I have a nice little highlight on his cheeks, and his wings are a lot more defined. I'm coming in with a little bit of orange, and I'm popping a little bit of orange on his party hat, his beak, and just on his little feet there. And I'm going to do a quick clean up and move that aside. So far I have my little Tweety bird, my balloon. So now I need to work on the card fronts and the die cuts. So one of these cards I'm creating with the card front coloured, and the other one I'm creating with the die cut coloured in. So I'm using the 3 colours that I have out there, which is Squeezed Lemonade, Carved Pumpkin and Candied Apple. And I'm coming in and laying this down. Now, a thing to remember when you're working with those oxide inks, you've seen me put down some post-it notes on the back of this card front. That's so that the back of the card doesn't get all grubby while I'm blending. But also I'm going to bring in a post-it note just to hold the card while I'm blending so my fingers don't get overly inky. So you will pick up ink off the card front onto your fingers. And if you just pop a little piece of scrap paper or a post-it note down, you can save your fingers and from having to run and give them a wash every couple of minutes. I've laid two colours down there. I'm coming in with the red at the bottom. Now this is one of my favourite colour combinations, is red, that sunset red, orange, yellow. I just adore working with this colour set. It always pops, it always looks really nice and bright and cheerful. And the way to get that nice graduation is to go back over it a couple of times. So you see me go in, and where the two colours meet, I go back and I blend a couple of times, making sure that it sort of softly moves into each other. So don't expect to ever get this blending with the oxides perfect the first time. You see I just do a little whoopsie on the top there, and I'm like, is this going to be coverable? And I just check and go, yep, I'm not going to notice that little whoopsie on the very, very top there. So this one is where I've coloured the card front, but I'm also going to do it where I colour the... Sorry, I'm laughing at myself. I'm trying to match up the blenders with the ink pads. I'm also going to do one now where I am colouring the die cut. I'm just going to trim out, now that this is dried, the sentiment that is going to be on the card front. And then I'm going to check and make sure that I feel like that card is going to work. And just straightening that up a bit. I must have cut a little bit crooked the first time. And I'm checking how I'm going to ink the edges. So I'm going to bring in a black ink pad here, and all I'm going to do is slide the very edge of those sentiments along on the black until I'm happy with the depth. Now if you want a wider border, angle the cardstock a little bit more as you drag it across. If you want a thinner border, keep it up more upright. I'm now going to blend on my circled lattice background die cut, and I'm just going over that with the same combination of inks, the candied apple, carved pumpkin, and the squeezed lemonade. And the same way, I'm going to do a couple of little coats. So I'll come in with the two outside colours this time and then do the centre. And then I'm blending those three colours so they're nicely graduated into each other. And bringing that orange in. Do you guys have a favourite colour combination? Let me know below what your favourite thing is. Pop a comment in or pop over to Facebook and let me know. This is definitely one of mine. I also love tone on time blues, but what is your favourite colour combination or layout colour combinations that you go to time and time again? This is where I'm just going over those areas and making sure that they are nicely blended together. And I'm going to play that game again where I try to match up the ink blenders and the lids, doing a bit of a shuffle. And I will take a moment just to wipe down that bench and clean it up a little bit. Or I won't, maybe not. I will in a moment, I'm sure. So I'm just checking that that is going to fit nicely there. And you can see where the balloon string is coming down on the side there, and it's not quite reaching. So what I plan to do here is just stamp and cut out another little bit of string. Now you'll see me here go, I'm going to cut this out with my scissors, and of course because I didn't let the ink dry, I again smudge it. So I throw that to the side, stamp another one, and this time I'm smart enough to let it dry for a moment before I continue. And I will actually eventually end up die cutting that one out. And it is a lot easier to die cut than hand cut as well. So where I was trying to, say getting up and going and die cutting, I should have just done that in the first place. Here I am finally getting around to tidying out that mat a little bit. And then I'm going to bring the pieces in and adhere the majority of this together. So I'm just adding glue to the back of this, and I really like being able to attach these background card fronts, die thin cut pieces to my card with the glue, because it gives you a little bit of time to wiggle that around. And you'll see here I'm just moving the edges slightly to make sure that I've created a nice even match onto the card front. There is a little bit of white hanging over there, and I'll bring the scissors in and trim that off so that it's nice and flush and not got that little white edge there. When I'm happy, I'm going to grab some foam tape, and I will attach the foam tape to the back of this sentiment here and attach that just off center. So at first it looks like it's a little bit wrong because it isn't in center, but the birdie needs just a smidge more room than the balloon. So it is just slightly off center, but it all works in the end. Some people might not be able to cope with it being slightly off center, and if you're one of those people that cannot cope with that, you would definitely just center it and angle the birdie just that little bit more. And once I put that bird on, you'll notice the very end of that string I am tucking under, so it looks like it's going up and under the sentiment, and I've just popped a little bit of glue on it so it will stay under there. And then I will go in with that little extra piece that I stamped and cut later on and add that to the bottom of this balloon. So I'm going to pop that one on the foam tape there, pop a little bit of glue on his tail, and while I'm die cutting the other piece, I'll leave that with the block on it just so it has time to adhere, because the rest of the balloon is foam taped up and does want to make it want to jump off. And you'll see that's that extra little bit. And when I tuck this in, it's going to look like that string is just going straight underneath that sentiment and out the other side. I'm going to bring in the other card we made, guys, and do a little bit of a slowdown so you can see the two cards side by side, one with the background blended and one with that thin cut blended on top. I am definitely sending you guys a hug your way. Thank you so much for tuning in, all the comments you leave, all the love that you send me. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next ones. Thank you guys. Bye.